Bilal, I know that it's almost midnight where you are. I can see it in your eyes, and may Allah reward you. But one last advice, please. To you see, unfortunately, in America here, um, I really want to place this politically correct, so I'm not sounding like a hater, like envier, or any of that. Uh, Institutions have been built, bodies, entities, without naming anybody, and they grouped, like International Open University, the beautiful university behind you, which I learned a lot from it. If someone in your faculty, in your staff, I know the manner of going about it is going to be a little bit different, comes in public and he makes a mistake that your own institution has been teaching, it's wrong. Shouldn't the faculty, the entity, International Open University come out and clarify that, or should they stay silent without naming anything here? I hope you understand my question, sir.
Well, it depends on the seriousness of what has been said. If it is something massive, then obviously the university has to take a stance and explain that this is not our beliefs, that's the belief of the individual, etc., which we don't hold, we are opposed to. And if it is something minor, then we talk to that individual by himself, and it's like, at the same time, we know the situation with Sheikh bin Baz, who headed Medina University when I was studying there, and he brought over, professors from Egypt, who had, issues with their aqidah issues in terms of their teaching, but he brought them over anyway, because of their great knowledge in other areas. So what he did was he just made sure that whoever was teaching aqidah was somebody, who had come from a background of the way of the early generations, who were influenced by Ibn Taymiyyah and others. So they just ensured that those were the people who taught those subjects. So you have to weigh your situation, a circumstance, and you act accordingly. But no doubt that where a person has become infamous, in calling to what opposes the religion, the standard understanding that has been there since the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that such individuals, should be removed from the faculty, and also clarification should be there where possible to let the public understand that this individual no longer is representative of the university.
What I love about you, you make so much sense, Sheikh. It's and you say it in a very, and that's what I need to learn from, your tranquility and peaceful presentation of points. We get a little bit hard here, But in any rate, Sheikh, one last question before you go, inshallah, and I promise this is the last question. What is your advice to those, a lot of people are watching us, you cannot imagine, and I know a lot of people will be watching this in the future. What advice do you give? I know what I should tell them. Just enroll in that faculty behind you. It's online, it's accessible and trustworthy knowledge, and I testify to that. But people who don't have that flexibility, they can only allot a certain time. They cannot. What advice do you give to them to save themselves from? Obviously, the Prophet mentioned that there will be 73 groups out there, and everyone will be trying to convince you of the way. what advice do you give, especially the youth, Sheikh, who are seeking guidance at this time?
Well, I would advise them to be open-minded. Open-minded in the sense that, you know, they study under and with as many different sources as possible. You know, be like Imam Ash-Shafi'i, who studied so much of his life under Imam Malik till Imam Malik died. You know, he became a narrator of the Muwatta. You know, he had all of this knowledge, and his respect was so great for Imam Malik that he wouldn't teach even though he was capable of teaching until Imam Malik died. Then he went to Yemen. You know, he studied under the scholars there. Then he went to Baghdad. He studied under the scholars there, the, you know, Hanafi school, whatever. And, you know, then he came to Egypt, and he, you know, to study under the students, the Imam, what's his name again? His name slips my mind. But there's a great Imam.
Al-Layth ibn Sa'd.
Yeah. Al-Layth ibn Sa'd. Shukran. That, you know, Al-Layth ibn Sa'd, who people don't even know about today. You know, if you ask it, you know about, they say who? They haven't heard. Anyway, the point is when he got there, Imam Layth had died. So he studied under Imam Layth's students, and he absorbed his teachings, changed his madhab, changed his approach and his understanding. And, you know, of course, after Imam Malik, when he went to Yemen, he made changes. After Yemen and he went to Baghdad, you know, he made changes. And after he made changes, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to get information and get further information and change your understanding based on the knowledge. So this is a part of learning, the learning process. So,
but Sheikh, just to place this in context, we're talking about branches of the religion. Grave worshipping is not okay in India and haram in America, right? Is grave worshipping is shirk, right? We're talking just for, because that's the context of the subject. So Shafi'i he's talking about you know, the branches, the fiqh of the religion, right? The practical aspects of yeah. Okay.
But to say that it doesn't involve aqidah also, you know, this extraction of fiqh to the point where fiqh is fiqh and aqidah is aqidah. No, they are interwoven. You know, it's all deen. So in the end, you know, when he was learning under Imam Malik, he was learning aqidah too. He wasn't just learning on Muwatta and the fiqh. You know, similarly, when he went to Yemen, when he went to Baghdad, he went to Al-Layth. So, you know, we don't need to actually separate them such to the point where it's okay there and it's not okay there.
I'm just referring to the little piece that he changed. You know, he changed his madhab, his opinion, not on the semantic of the religion, right? That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, okay, alhamdulillah. But the bottom line is that he was open-minded, meaning that he didn't become the blind follower of any of his teachers. He took from them, he benefited, and he carried on. He learned from others, he benefited, he corrected, he changed, whatever, and he moved on. You know, this is the point, that we're traveling through this life and we're going to come across a number of different people, you know, and we should be open-minded enough to sit and learn under those who are known to be trustworthy. I'm not talking about, you know, going into areas where people are corrupted and it's known that this guy is off and you're just gonna go sit with them just for the sake of being open-minded. No. You know, if you see the clear error in front of your face, then you leave that one and you move to somebody who's reliable. Because you should always be careful of whom you take the knowledge from as the early tabi'ins and